Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the premiere of the Heartbeats of Adapted PE podcast. It is our live premiere. I'm so excited that you are with us today. I am your host, Jen Hebink. We are rolling. I am an adapted PE teacher out of Buffalo, Minnesota, about 40 minutes outside of Minneapolis. And I am so excited to just bring you this podcast. We've been working on this podcast for about a year, just dreaming about it, wondering kind of how we're going to bring it all together. And we are premiering here at Shape Baltimore in one of the rooms. And I am bringing you some special guests today. I'll get to them in a minute. But to start us off, our mission and vision with this podcast is that we would connect, inspire, and amplify adapted PE teacher voices, along with all those who support all students. And what I love about this is that we have this word called heartbeat, right? We are going to celebrate the heart behind adapted PE, which is the storytelling. I believe so deeply that there is power in connection through stories. And I also believe that we have a beat, right? A daily rhythm in our essential field. And so we are going to bring this all together with some special guests, storytelling, and just celebrate being adapted PE teachers and supporting all students. We're going to give you some best practice. We're going to tell stories. We are going to listen to people who will help us become better teachers. And so I'm excited to have you along for the ride on this adventure for a whole year. And we are building this community that I'm excited to see that in a year from now, when the next Shape conference is happening, what is this going to look like? What have we built? I'm kind of a dreamer. And so when we are thinking about all these things, it just makes me so excited. So I'm glad that you're here today. And I want to share that we're going to be releasing our podcast one time per month. And it is a not-for-profit podcast because we are serving our community. And because of that, I get to share our amazing sponsor for the 2025-2026 year for our podcast will be Fit and Fun Playscapes. And what I love about this organization is that they also support so many different unique students and just people in general who have different needs. And so if you are an adapted PE teacher or any teacher or just someone who supports all students, I really encourage you to check them out and engage with their social media. I have that at the end for us as well. The next thing I want to share with you is how you can get into our social media. How can you follow us? And I have a few different ways you can do that. The first is on X. It's at Heartbeats of Adapted PE. And that is spelled out, except for the PE part, obviously, is just PE. So at Heartbeats of Adapted PE on X, and then the same thing on Blue Sky with their handle. So is it Heartbeats of Adapted PE at bluesky.social. And then we have a Gmail that you can email us at, and it's heartbeatsofadaptedpe at gmail.com. And so we are excited to connect with you. We hope that you follow us and engage with us as we go on this journey with this podcast this year. You can also watch the podcast in 3 different ways. And the first way is just right on our YouTube page, and it's at Heartbeats of Adapted PE podcast on YouTube. And you can also engage on the HPE Collective. Shout out to Jordan Manley, who's been working with us the last couple months to help get this as an event on his collective. And it's not his collective, it's our collective. I feel like because there are so many teachers with physical education, health, adapted PE, who are all on this collective, and you can sign up and RSVP to watch the podcast live or rewatch, and then continue that conversation with those teachers in that collective. And the way that we like to describe the HPE collective is that it's kind of like X or Twitter without the noise, and it's just physical education and health teachers. And adapted PE, we're trying to build out that part, and so we're hoping to add more podcasts and release this there every month. So be sure to check them out and engage with the community that we are building over there at the collective. And a super exciting news, the YouTube page for Shape America has also picked this up. So we are live there as well. So hello to everyone watching from the Shape America YouTube page. But there are 3 ways to watch, which is really, really great. You'll be able to watch it however you feel comfortable or ready to engage with. Up next, I have an amazing announcement to bring our guests on. And with this podcast, I just want to really shout out to the next guests because they're incredible people. But I promise to bring you amazing guests who will help us connect and inspire and amplify voices for adapted PE. And we're really reaching into that part of our mission with the next 3. I served on their committee for their Teacher of the Year awards. And so it feels really special, almost like I'm bringing my little sidekicks on here. But they are high quality adapted PE teachers, and I will let each one of them introduce themselves in a minute. But first, I want to bring on our 2024 Shape America Adapted PE Teacher of the Year, Katie Doyle. Woo! Let's go. Hi, Katie. Will you introduce yourself and then share what you've been up to in the world of teaching and also maybe at home?
So I'm Katie Doyle. I taught for 8 years in Fairfax County in Northern Virginia. I had a couple leadership roles while I was there. I was a lead teacher, so I supported new teachers and teachers in the program with behavior management, classroom structure, things like that. And then this past year in the summer, I moved back to upstate New York. So I'm back near family, and I've been staying home with my almost 2-year-old.
Awesome. And that balance of being a mom and a teacher and like trying to figure that out, you've had a little bit of change in your life.
A lot of change.
Yeah.
Moving, selling a house.
Yeah. What did it feel like for you to leave your home and find a new home in New York? What was that like being a teacher?
Very stressful. There was a lot of moving parts because I love teaching. But where we were moving to in upstate New York, there's not a lot of adapted PE. So kind of that balance of, I do love general PE, right? Because adapted PE is PE. But finding that balance of, am I ready to teach general PE? Am I going to teach adapted? And then we have to find a house. Where is Henry going to daycare? And it was just a lot at once. So it was like, okay, going to take a breather. We're going to move. We're still looking for a house almost a year later. So we're living in an apartment. So it's been a lot. And I miss teaching so much. So it was nice to reconnect with people that I worked with in Fairfax this week.
That's awesome. Yeah, coming to this conference has been so great for reconnection. But I do know, like, when we have all those things going on in our life and then just trying to balance everything, like, good for you for having that boundary of being like, this is hard. Like, let's take a break. Because I think for a lot of teachers who might have just like jumped right in and tried to figure it out. And so I know that can be difficult too. So I want to ask you a question, and this is not on there, but like last year when you were selected, like how did that make you feel like walking up to the stage? Because tonight we're going to have that. We're going to have some people who have been selected as National Teachers of the Year. And you're going to be handing it off. But last year, what did that feel like for you to accept that award?
It was a blur. It was like you get your name and it's like, oh God. And it's like, oh, I have to go up there. And so it was like a lot at once, and they're giving you the award and then you're going up to speak, and it's so exciting, but a lot to process at once. So an exciting blur, you could say.
Yeah, well, I know that blur well. I didn't share it at the beginning, but I was the 2022 Shape America National Adapted PE Teacher of the Year. And so I know that feeling of like, oh my gosh, that was me. Like for me, when I was sitting in that audience, I remember them like going through like, these are the nominees or whatever. And your heart is like, and the way that I coped, okay, everybody copes different, right? So I'm sitting in my chair and my toy sisters are next to me. It's Katie Smith, Sadie Brown, and Kasha Givenrod from all across the country. And I am picturing like them announcing each one of their names, and I'm picturing them going up to accept the award. And then I realized like they called my name. I gotta get up there.
So what was it like for you then? Because you got the award.
Yeah.
And then last year you were on the committee selecting who was getting it for 2024. So what was that like role reverse like?
Yeah, it was interesting because it was like I wanted to see what that role felt like and like how did they choose? Like what were the things? And so it was really interesting to like go through the rubrics with you guys and be like, oh, that's why like maybe I didn't do as well in that area, or like, oh, I really got to watch for this when I interview you guys. And so it was intense to like be on the other side, but also like start understanding why they asked the different questions. And it was busy, but I really liked that process. So if you get a chance to do that next year, like I'd say totally do it. So thanks for sharing. I love going back and forth and having talks. So good. So you all as 2024 Shape American Teachers of the Year, District Teachers of the Year, got to present together. And I'm going to introduce the other ones in a few minutes. But I want to talk to you about like how did your presentation go? Because part of being a Teacher of the Year is you get to do a presentation with your adapted PE friends, your District Teachers of the Year, at the Shape conference. So right now we're in Shape Baltimore, and you guys just got done presenting. So I want to know, how did your presentation go?
I thought it went really well. It was nice to collaborate with them, and we did a lot of planning ahead of time and going through slides and stuff. And it really gave me that itch to be back to teaching adapted PE. My husband got home from work one night after we met, and he saw my resume pulled up. So they definitely like meeting with them and collaborating with them and getting excited to share this stuff with people. Like it definitely gets you excited, and what all conferences do. You go and you get excited and get re-energized and get that fire, especially this time of year can be a little bit hard, IEP season and stuff. So re-energized to finish out your school year.
Love it. Yeah, I always feel like so energized, but also like so exhausted because you're like been like connecting with people and like sharing and like taking in, but it's such a good experience. Just ready to go back to school when you're done. What do you feel like the feedback from the audience was? Like, what did they take from it? Did you get any feedback when you were done?
That was also a rush because you're trying to talk to people and they're like, oh, cool, where's this from? Or that was great. And you're catching up with people you haven't seen in a while. And it's like, you got to get your equipment out. We have another session in 10 minutes. And so a lot of running around. So we're glad that we shared our contacts so that hopefully people can reach back out to us a little bit more. But all positive stuff coming up. So that was exciting to hear.
Awesome. So glad that you guys got that feedback. I feel like after you're done presenting, yes, it is a rush, but at the same time, you're like, oh, I just want to know how it went from people, like you want that feedback and like take it with you.
Justin and I were talking too, and it was like, we wish we had like 20 more minutes or like 30 more minutes or like, oh, we should have done this or added this, but lots of reflecting going on for a while after.
Yeah, so good. And I feel like in any of us, like I feel like we could talk for hours about this subject because we're just so passionate about what we do in adapted PE and helping all students. And so many people just need that help because they maybe have less experience. And so that's why we're good at coming and bringing what we do. So what did you feel as you were like walking into your presentation today?
Excited and nervous. So we also had the general session. So for the closing ceremony where we announced the next one, I had that practice run. So I was running from that, trying to get our stuff set up. We're testing out mics. So it was definitely a whirlwind, but I feel like we met and prepared so much that I felt ready, but you're always a little bit nervous, especially like that's the largest group I presented to before, but I was in good company. So excited and nervous.
Awesome. Yeah, I just feel like if you can prepare so much, but you never know like what it's going to be like, right? Did you guys do any Zooms or anything to get ready beforehand?
Oh yeah, we met 2 or 3 times. The first time just throwing out like what our ideas were, and then like we kind of built in on our own time and met again and talked about who would talk about what. Then we met again to talk about like who's got this equipment that we can bring, what do we need from Gopher. So
That's awesome.
Lots of planning.
So awesome. The one question I'm going to ask all these guests is, as you near the end of your year as a toy, Katie is going to be handing off the current Teacher of the Year title to our next Teacher of the Year tonight after this podcast. And so I'm wondering, as you end the year as a toy, can you reflect on a moment or experience that stands out as meaningful, or like a piece of joy that you're taking with you, or something that you'll just never forget?
Obviously, presenting with the other toys, and being invited on this podcast, like the experiences that came from it were great. But in general, it just like has me reflecting on my 8 years and like the relationships and that I built with like families, and like I still get Christmas cards from some like kids that I've had from K through 6, or
So good.
coworkers that I've worked with. So just appreciating the experience like as a whole.
Yeah. So good. Well, thank you for joining me, Katie. This is so good. I'm going to move on in a second to our second guest, so you can hop over. I just want to share some of the comments that are happening right now as banners. So I'm just going to hop over to, I think this is the setting that I want. So I'm going to show you some of the things that are popping up that have been so just encouraging as they're coming. I want to share this guy. Thank you so much, Guy, for all your help getting this podcast going. Congrats on the launch. It makes my heart so happy. Guy did so much to help me get this going and kind of just give me some coaching tips and stuff. And then, of course, I need to share my mom. My mom's on watching. Hi, Mom. My mom was with me in 2022 when I was selected as the National Teacher of the Year for Adapted PE, and she's just my favorite person, and so I just needed to do that. And then Dr. Megan Johnson, way to make your dreams a reality, Jen. Great launch timing with the adapted PE toys. It worked out so well. In talking to Megan is on my advisory board, and what I loved about this whole process is that not only was she with me, but Justin was also, and Jordan Manley and Jess Matheson, we have this amazing board that has been building this community of support for us. And so what I love about it is that I'm a huge dreamer. Like I said, I have all these great ideas, but like no treasure map to like get to the dreams. And so I surrounded myself with people who just really know how to figure out the details of things and help us make dreams reality. And of course, we got to jump to Jordan Manley. He says, congratulations on the podcast, and thank you to the toys for joining us for episode 1. He is running that episode over on YouTube on the HPE Collective. So thank you, Jordan, for all of your help, and you have been so helpful to us. So thank you so much for that. All right, I'm going to welcome our second guest, Mr. Jeff. Jeff is coming in. Come on in, Jeff. Jeff Watkins. Woohoo! Okay. I'm going to keep us as a large box this time because they got to see the picture of you guys earlier. So let's jump over here. Jeff, where do you teach? Introduce yourself a little bit. What's your background?
So I teach here in Maryland. I teach just north of Washington, D.C., about 45 minutes from Baltimore here. So I teach students ages 5 to 21. They have significant support needs, and I am in my 13th year of teaching adapted PE.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I want to talk a little bit first about your students. Like, what are some of the things that have helped your students so much in your time as being an adapted PE teacher? What's some of that technology pieces? Let's jump to that equipment question that we're talking about. What is your favorite piece of equipment, Jeff?
So anyone that knows me, I think they know exactly what I'm going to say. Leaf blower, power link, and a switch. Those 3 things have given my students so much access to so many activities. And it's just been a game changer. And that came from Jody Duff. I watched her present back in 2017, and it just started sparking ideas for me. And I've just brought it up to the level that it's at now. So very thankful for her.
I love Jody too. I feel like when she came and presented at Mindape, it like changed a whole like perspective of our teaching in Minnesota to like engage students who have that high support need too, and like having that attitude of students can do it rather than like don't look at what they can't, right? If a student can move their wrist or their finger or their chin or their head, like what can they do and what equipment can we use to engage that. What is your favorite kind of equipment with the leaf blower? Like when you're doing an activity with the leaf blower and the switch, what is your favorite that you've done with your kids?
So many things. I love doing the basketball, shooting the things up into the basketball. That's always a fan favorite. Yeah. Skee ball's always so much fun because you watch it go in the thing and then it drops down into a different point value, and the students get excited, I get excited, and the staff gets excited. And when we're just creating that atmosphere of awesomeness, it's just so conducive to learning, and it's just there's so many good ones.
Yeah, I know. We could talk for hours about this. Jeff, what I love about you is like you have like this creator engineer mind that I don't have. Remember, I'm a dreamer and have no treasure map to those dreams, but I feel like you're able to like see a student need and like build it. Like, how does that? What's your process for that?
So I always have like 4 or 5 ideas in my head. And, sometimes it's funny when I come up with an idea, it's usually been in my head for probably months. Like I adapted a switch adapted Frisbee thrower and I knew I wanted to do it. I just wasn't sure how I was going to do it. And then finally it just clicks and then I'm able to build it and it happens. But I always have so many ideas in my head. You should see my garage. I literally have 4 unfinished projects because I'm almost there, but not quite. So I'll be unveiling those soon.
Fantastic. And we're able to see some of those on your X, right? You have X and TikTok and
Instagram. Yeah.
And Instagram at Longview. What is it? At Longview?
APE.
APE.
And I also, my TikTok and Instagram is at Mr. Jeff Adapted PE.
Got it. All right. So as I talked to Katie today, you guys just finished your presentation. So what were some of your emotions walking into that today?
So it's funny going into anytime I go in to present, I'm always thinking someone like me, my biggest concern is always outlets. Where are the outlets going to be? And today we actually discovered a new one that must have been hidden.
It was hidden back.
And that was a game changer because that allowed us to set so many things up so much quicker. And so once everything gets set up and once we figure out where it's all going to go, because we're talking about it, but we're not actually in there setting things up. But once we finally get everything set up, and then I just start to get really excited, like especially when I start to see people come in, more people coming in, it just builds some adrenaline in me, and I really, really get excited.
So great.
Yeah,
I kind of get the same way. Like I get anxious when I set up, but then once I'm set up, I'm like, let's go. And like someone, I think it was Dr. Sherry Holloway, like in Minnesota a couple years ago, like when she was watching me present, she's like, when you present, you just go way up there in your brain, like you just fly. So, but yeah, when we present, like it kind of fills your bucket and then some, because like what you're about to do is like it fills your soul, but then it also like helps other people. Right. 100%. Yeah. Sounds good. All right. So you guys just finished your presentation. So from your perception, I know I talked to Katie about this too, but how do you think it went from like your view?
And I think just reflecting on what Katie said, I think she was kind of spot on. Wish we could have had a little more time, obviously. But it was just so much fun presenting with them. And I think, the 3 of us are just such experts in the field, but we all do something a little bit different. And I think it came together well. And we threw so much information at people, but I think everyone at least got something new out of it. So I think we reached a lot of people.
Yeah, I think you guys had a lot of great equipment in there. I'm wondering, did anyone come up and ask you about your switch work?
I've already got like 6 business cards.
So awesome.
So yeah. Yep, definitely have quite a few people approach me about that so far, and a bunch of emails. I already got a bunch of emails about it. So
there you go. But that's why we do it, right? Like we want all students to be able to engage in recreation, leisure, and sports. And when we don't know how to do something, it's good to ask for help. And 100%. Jeff is one of those people that likes to help. I love him. He came to Minnesota and like had the full Minnesota experience. Jeff, do you remember what was your favorite part about coming to Minnesota and presenting?
Oh, there's the people. You guys are so amazing. MnDape is one of the best conferences in the country if you're in Adapted PE. Just so many great sessions, hanging out with you, Jess Matheson, Justin, all the other people you invite. I mean, that conference is for real. Anyone that has not been to that, try to figure out how to get there because it is an incredible conference. And I got to say it, Jen, you betcha.
Jess Matheson, where are you?
Don't you know?
Don't you know? We need some tater tot hot dish. And Dr. Megan Johnson probably taught us all the long Minnesota goodbye. Lots of jokes with that. Ask me later, come to the MnDAPE conference. We'll teach you all about it. So great. Jeff, have you attended any sessions this week that are popping out to you that you're like, oh, that was so good, or I'm going to take this with me from this session? Like, what were some of those nuggets?
There were so many great sessions this week. Just an incredible conference. But I really, really love the one that you, Megara, and Maddie B. did. Just, I love how you showed the activities, and then you showed how you adapt it, and then you got people's input on it. I just thought it was a home run session, and I really appreciate how you guys set it up and ran it.
Thanks for the feedback. I know I talked about this earlier with you, but Maddie B and Megara and I we worked really hard on that one, but also we had all these ideas and it wasn't necessarily coming into like a structure. And so that's when we kind of stopped and wait, maybe it doesn't need to have structure. Maybe it's just a collaboration kind of piece. So it was so good to have people who taught general PE in there and adapted PE. And then we all kind of came together. And by the end, I don't know if you remember, but we had a whole new game created.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this game happening right now? This is what happened when we get so many people in that room and at a conference with such amazing ideas. Collaborating together is just so special with these conferences.
That's
right?
Sometimes how your best lessons come. You plan a lesson, and then by the end of the lesson, you've created a new game that's way better than what you planned.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about your piece of equipment that you just really use all the time, and that's your switch work. So I'm going to end it with you on this question before we introduce our next guest. At the end of this year, so you're coming into your final little day of being a current Teacher of the Year, can you reflect on a moment or a piece of joy or something that impacted you that made this experience as a Teacher of the Year so meaningful to you?
For me, just this whole year, being able to travel the country and spread, what I love to do to so many other people, and all the relationships and all the people I've met along the way at all the different state conferences. It's just been such a rewarding experience, and I'm so thankful to Shape America for helping open those doors to me. But it's been a heck of a run. A heck of a year.
It has. I'm super proud of you, and just your heart for high support students in a place where a lot of us just struggle. I think coming to Maryland, and I can't remember if I talked about this with Katie, but coming to Maryland was a really cool, good place to come for Shape Baltimore, because we have all these amazing adapted PE teachers that are doing incredible things. And so we had a ton of sessions this week of adapted PE, which we haven't had in the past.
Amazing sessions.
Yeah. And it just full buckets for adapted PE teachers so that we can go home. We all feel connected. It is just really special. So I just appreciate you coming on, Jeff, and sharing all of your little nuggets with us. And so I'm going to have you step off here real quick. Hang on one sec here. We're going to just add one more comment. I got a shout out because my brother commented. So he's family. So we're going to share his comment here. He's tuning in from California. So if you're in from California, thanks for tuning in. Hi, Matt. Hi, Katie. Hi, Pumpkin and Sparkles. Those are your pets. They got a famous shout out today. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to introduce our last guest of the day, and this is Mr. Justin Lund. He is a fellow MnDAPE buddy of mine. So come on into this space. This is Justin.
Hi.
Justin, will you introduce yourself, where you're at, your background, and kind of where you teach?
Yeah, I'm Justin Lund. I teach full-time adapted PE in Minnesota, in Bloomington, in Minnesota. They're right outside Minneapolis. I'm in one elementary building this year, which is different for me, and it's been pretty crazy. I have 2 center-based classrooms for students with DCD, severe and profound, so high support, and then 2 with emotional behavioral disorders, and then all the way to helping students in their PE classes. So it's a busy week for me each week.
I bet. I know, part of, I don't know how it is for you, but getting that schedule figured out right off the bat, how does building that schedule feel for you? What kind of stresses does it bring in the beginning of the school year?
Oh gosh, that's probably my least favorite time of the year.
That's a trick question, because I know how he's going to answer it.
If there's any elementary adaptive PE teachers out there, I feel your pain. I just like, I want to be in the cafeteria, but you got to be after breakfast and before lunch, and then after it, and then we got to clean, and then we got space, and then all, speech and OT, and everybody's trying to get the time that, and you can only take during certain days, times of the day and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a giant puzzle.
It is. It's always a puzzle piece. Trying to build a schedule, and then you think you got it, and then it like falls apart the next day, and you got to start over.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that all the teachers that I've interviewed today get. So you just finished your presentation. How did it go from your perspective?
Aren't those two awesome?
I love them.
God.
I love them.
I really think I just lucked out. Like we meshed well. So it just was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then just like being able to bounce ideas off each other, and like I was just telling, like at the presentation, like I learned so many things from then while we're getting ready from our presentation. Like, Katie, how do you use that?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that, and just like, I don't know. It's really cool to like put everything together and actually see it like that. It was an awesome session.
So good. Nice work, you guys. You can really tell when people mesh in their sessions, and when things are going well, like you can tell like everything is just so smooth, and like that really worked well for you guys. Did you have any people come up to you afterwards to give you feedback? Like, what was that like?
For sure. Yeah. We could have used 4 more hours actually. But we had so much out there, and our presentation was adapt anything to make everything possible. And we literally put out everything. I mean, racket sports and Jeff's leaf scarf blower to big ball soccer, like all sorts. We just put it all up. And there's so many people like, wow, I've never thought of doing it that way, but I actually have that. Or like, that's, and so we were like, I had a couple people come to me and it's like, you do it this way, but I actually have this thing that,
yes.
I was like, oh my gosh, like, thanks.
Brilliant.
I'm going to use that next week.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just really cool to connect and like-minded people in our session, and people get super excited. Someone told me that they bought a floor fan while we were talking. Yeah. They're like, I wanted that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So like, shout out to you if you're listening.
Whoever that is.
Yeah, that was really fun.
That's so awesome. People going shopping, and I know like you always share a QR code with your Amazon list. Tell me a little bit about your Amazon list. Why do you do that?
Yeah. Adapted equipment is just really where I find my strength. Like I just like, how can I change things? How can I move things around for my kids, and what can I use? And so I found like what Jeff had like with his assistive tech or things like that. Like I need to find that, right? And I need to get like, how do we get that to other people and things like that? And so I just started making a list on Amazon. I sent it out to my family, like, hey, anybody on my Facebook, like, would you be willing to donate to my class? And I got so much from like just that list, so that we were like, there's more people that want to hear it or want to see what we have. So we put together this list, and I think I have it pinned to my ex, Mr. Justin Lund, and that we created a whole list together of all the, like, is it over 50 items, I think, that we all put together, that like, these are the things, if you don't have, you must have that in your adapted PE space. So really cool resource we put together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So walking into your presentation today, what did you feel like some of those emotions, like as you were building up?
So we had like an hour and a half before, like, space was open before we presented. And so we were like setting up and moving things around, and I was getting a little nervous. We're like, oh, where should we move this? Things like that. But as the time got a little closer to when we were starting, and people were coming in, and we had some friends helping us, and like, blowing up beach balls and things like that. And like, you could feel it a little bit. We got the music going, and then you started seeing everybody come in. I think we said it was maybe 150 or more people that were there, like just excited, sitting on the floor, like just like coming over, like, what's that? Like, and it's like, oh, like, this is why I'm here. Like, I'm not nervous anymore. I'm just excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else did I want to ask you today? What were some of the sessions this week that you thought have been super good?
Well, so you had mentioned it, just that, there's over 30 adapted PE specific sessions throughout the week, and not just the quantity, but the quality. Like some of these people that are presenting here are just awesome.
They're
like
so good.
from Maryland and just down the road, and all these different Amy Falls, of Brad Hunter, Nicole McCoy, Matt Barker. Like these are all people from social media that I knew of, and that I was like, I want to meet these guys or whatever. And now we're all in the same room, like you're having lunch together or things like that. And it's like, this is really cool. Like all these people are here. So I think the one session that just blew my mind, and it does every time, is Jeff and Matt and Nicole doing their assistive tech. It was right away one morning, and they like had all these power links set up and things like that. It was awesome.
Would you agree? Like Nicole McCoy, like I feel like she's on a whole nother level too with Jeff. I feel like hers is more like reciprocating back and forth, right? Do you remember what else has she done with that? Like if you could pick one like post that she's done with the thing, like what have you taken?
That one for sure is like we want reciprocal play, and we want to like we're working on the skills, but like got to get that engagement and stuff like that, and like hers was going between two posts that she brought with like two blowers on each side. A student pushes it, and then the balloon goes across, and then the other student pushes the switch, and that comes back. And now we're just engaging kids in a whole different way. Like they're playing a game with their friends in just a way that I would have never seen. So cool things like that.
Yeah, she does such cool things. I think my piece of adapted equipment that I'm like thinking of that I have needed to take from each presentation. Katie Smith gave a great presentation this week, two of them, but using carabiners to tie up like tethers and being able to have that carabiner slide even just on a ribbon. I'm like, oh, that's so simple. Like, why haven't I done that yet? But I know you talked a little bit of equipment, but tell me one piece of equipment that you would share again.
In my elementary, I mean, I just like try to make it fun, like make it meaningful, but like we got to have fun. I mean, we're doing parachutes and scooters, like the best stuff in elementary. But I think the one thing that people will kind of like connect me with is the big ball soccer. Like you blow that thing up. It's huge. It's like a pool floaty like company, and it's really cool. I mean, so now we're playing games. The kids are getting super excited. Kids are motivated that usually aren't motivated to play. And we're doing scooter soccer, anything like wheels. So yeah, that's a real fun one.
Okay, Justin, when you presented at Mindape, there was this thing that everybody went wild for, and it had like a noodle and a car. Can you just like explain that a little bit?
So it's not my idea. I don't take credit for it, but putting a pool noodle on a remote control car and having students on scooters, and so they're scooting around, and then they're getting tagged by the noodle car, we call it. So remote control scooter tag, and man, it's that's such a fun one, and kids of all abilities and ages will love it. And we have staff, like some of my like more competitive paraprofessionals or teacher aides, they're driving it, trying to get all the kids tagged and stuff like that. And yeah, that's a good one too.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So as we kind of close up the questions for you all, as you end your current year as a adapted PE toy, what is one moment or experience or kind of meaningful or impactful moment that you have had in the last year that has impacted you and you're going to take with you personally or professionally?
I think just connecting with the other teachers of the year, whether it's adapted or elementary, middle, health, high school, like just having that group has been really cool. And like we went to San Diego as a teacher of the year trip, and like just connecting there and building our presentation there, and just having time together just to like, celebrate that we're here. And then coming all the way up to like, I'm just presenting was my favorite. Like we did it. Like it was just like, there's so much going on in different presentations and things like that. But like culminating to like a session that I hope was pretty meaningful to people that attended. Like, yeah, it was really cool.
So great. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm going to send you off into the peanut gallery and bring it back. Thank you so much to those three who joined us today. I'm going to do a couple more things here and some shout outs if we have any. Doesn't look like we have any more live comments. That is okay. I'm going to bring it back to our slides to kind of work through a little bit more of our podcast here. Some takeaways from today. Number one, I think in interviewing these three is that they have a really special bond, that when you become a teacher of the year, you get to work together with some amazing people who have some of the same like-mindedness as you. And when you work so well together, it shows, and it shows in your presentations. It shows as you go throughout the week. When you wear that teacher of the year shirt or polo or whatever it is, like, you're recognized as like some of the best of the best. And so I just want to congratulate you guys one more time on such a great experience this last year, and just leading us to have more adapted PE resources and just sharing your knowledge with us. So thank you so much for that. I think also being at Shape Baltimore is just such a special experience. When you come here, even if you're not a teacher of the year, you get to connect with so many people. And I know for me, like, every time I come, the experience is different. My first year in Shape Minneapolis in 2016, I was pregnant, and I didn't really have a lot of people to connect with. But every year that I've come back, it's just been so special. And the people that I've connected with have grown me and helped me as a human and as a teacher. And so in 2022, when I was selected as National Teacher of the Year for Adapted PE, it like blew open my world. It gave me a place to connect with other Teachers of the Year who became like family, but also just people who I would see over and over and over at these Shape national conventions and even at my home conferences. And it just really made it such a special experience. And I remember walking away from it and being like, this is something so special and so amazing. And I was able to connect with my other Teachers of the Year family, my toy sisters, Sadie, Katie, and Kasha. And we were so lucky to be able to work so well together. And again, like, we're like sisters. And so when you're like sisters, you work well together and you give amazing presentations. Like, that's just the chemistry of how it goes. And then when we were in Seattle, and when we did present, like, we worked well together and really just came together. We did a lot of planning, and it really paid off. We had a really great session in Shape Seattle. And then I don't know about what these guys are going to feel, but they're going to have a moment where they recognize, like, man, my year is over. My toy year is over. What do I do? What do I feel? And so I would encourage these three guests to just take a moment to like soak that up. You know what I mean? Because for me, it hit me on the airplane. I was like flying home from Seattle. I'm like, it's done. And like, this is embarrassing, but like, I wear an eye mask when I fly, and it was completely soaked with tears because it was like, it's done. Like, we never get to be in this cohort as this group, as Current Toys, ever again. And so just when those feelings come, like, feel those feels, like, soak them up, and just recognize, like, what a cool chance you guys had to just do this together. So yeah, I just encourage you guys to just soak it up. And then this conference is, for me, it's been less about what content I've taken in, and less about attending conferences, and more about presenting at conferences. So at this conference. So this conference, I was able to present with a few friends. So Dr. Megan Johnson, who is one of my besties from MinDape. We serve on the Minnesota DAPE committee for kind of bringing adapted PE and pushing that forward through Minnesota. And we did a session this week on supporting pre-service teachers, encouraging them, and what does that look like in the classroom, and what is the research behind that. And it was a very small session, but at the same time, the people in the room had such great feedback, and really just soaked in the resources, the stories, and like, we all agreed, like, this is an area that we just really need help in, is in helping our future educators, future PE teachers be inclusive in their practice. The second session I did was with Maddie B and Megara and and like I said, like, that was a session where I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I was going to be over the lunch hour, and the part 2 of elementary PE was happening at the same time. And so we weren't sure like who would attend, but we had a full room. It wasn't like a giant ballroom, but it was the next biggest size, and it was full, and it was active, and people were collaborating. And like I said, like, we had a whole other game by the time we were done. And so that was really just a special experience. And we were just like, wow, like, mind blown. And then, like, less than 2 hours later, I was presenting with Dr. Megan Johnson again. And we did 50 adapted PE hacks in 50 minutes. And that room was packed. It was warm, and there were people lined up on the wall, and there were people on the floor 3 rows deep. And we cruised, and both Megan and I, like, we wanted to share stories, and we knew that we kind of had to beat the clock. And so it was kind of a game for us as well. And so with that, like, those were our 3 sessions. Also, I think I have this later in the slides, but we're doing some Shape America training of the trainers to get more effective strategies out across the country for teaching students with disabilities, all students, right? Inclusive strategies. So my takeaways from this week are just this family that just keeps growing. When you have a family, you have a community, you're more able to thrive and find that support. And that these 3 friends got to soak it up this week. So I'm just super, super proud of them, and just excited for what's to come tonight with our handing off to the next 2025 Teachers of the Year. So with that, I want to share a little bit about the Shape America Adapted PE PD coming at you. We do have a workshop tomorrow, and this is going to go out into the world where you can sign up. I will get this in the show notes at some point. But Shape America has a landing page and an interest page where you can kind of sign up to get some professional development from people like me, people like Justin, who are trained in helping teachers, PE teachers, adapted PE teachers, to have more training on how to teach all students and what is the federal law and some of the equipment that you heard us talk about. So if you're interested in that, we'll get you that in the show notes. Coming at you next month, we are locking down a May date, but our guest is 2001. I had to think for a minute. It's not 2021. 2001 Shape America National Teacher of the Year, Richard Burke. And we have titled this next episode of Heartbeats of Adapted PE. It's going to be called Adapted PE Mythbusters, because Rich is so good at talking through some of those myths and what is federal law. And I'm going to be bringing in the stories behind that. So join us next month for that. And then I just have some thank yous, and I'm going to bring in some more live comments. But first of all, thank you so much to our guests, Katie, Justin, and Jeff. And then any of our listeners who are listening for the first time, thank you so much for listening in to this podcast. I also need to give a shout out to Dr. Bryden Carlson Gibbing for this amazing logo. He was so busy at the time, but just set aside some time and just made this logo. And I just feel like it is my heart and what this podcast is all about. And it's my school colors and it's heartbeats, and it made my heart so happy. So he is our artist for this. And then our amazing advisory board, Dr. Megan Johnson, Justin Lund, Jordan Manley, and Jess Matheson, not Jeff Watkins, but Jess Matheson, who have supported this podcast for this whole year, just in the buildup and putting it all together and getting the right people at the right positions. And also to Dr. Danhoff, Guy Danhoff, thank you so much for all your help. At this point, I want to bring in my whole family is shouting out on a podcast, but my dad is the only one who calls me Jenny, besides maybe 1 or 2 other people. But he says, "Congratulations, Jenny. You are so talented and do such a great job of teaching and sharing with your peers." It just makes my heart happy. Thanks, Daddy. Love you. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see what else we have here. I'm going to hide this little guy and move along. Again, thank you to our sponsors for the 25-26 podcast year for Heartbeats of Adapted PE. It is Fit and Fun Playscapes. Please check them out. Again, their mission and vision for movement of all people, it matches so well with us. So thank you to Pam over there. And with that, next, just a reminder of where you can follow us on social media, Heartbeats of Adapted PE on X and Blue Sky. And then you can email us at heartbeatsofadaptedpe@gmail.com. And here we go. And where to watch, just a reminder for where to watch. You can watch it on YouTube at our Heartbeats of Adapted PE podcast, all spelled out, and the Health and Physical Education Collective. Be sure to hop on there and become part of the community there. And of course, the Shape America YouTube. You are able to hop into that YouTube page and watch live there. And as we finish out this podcast, our premiere podcast, I just want to say thank you for joining us on Heartbeats of Adapted PE as we continue to connect, inspire, and amplify the voices of adapted PE teachers, along with those who support all students. Remember to keep your hearts beating strong, fill your bucket with joy, stay inspired, and always be brave in the work that you do. Until next time, keep going, everyone.